Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः. So we are now in the third Brahmanam of the fourth chapter. This Brahmanam, in fact, is the largest Brahmanam in Brhadaranyaka Upanishad. It has 38 Vakyas, and it is called Jyotir Brahmanam or Swayam Jyotir Brahmanam also. So here Atma is revealed as the self-conscious, self-revealing entity. That's why it is called Jyotir Brahmanam or Swayam Jyotir Brahmanam. Again, this Brahmanam is a samvada between Janaka and Yajnavalkya. In fact, this is one of the most important Brahmanams in the Upanishad. Lot of quotable quotes are there in this. Okay, and the main thing in this Brahmanam is that it is there to analyze the avasthatraya more using logic, okay, and understand the Atma by this analysis. Let us see the introduction Bhashyakara gives here. Janakam ha vaideham Yajnavalkyo jagama ityasya abhisambandhaha. So this Brahmanam starts with this Janakam ha vaideham Yajnavalkya, like that you can see here. Yajnavalkya jagama. So this is the connection here to the previously also Janaka and Yajnavalkya had a conversation, correct? We saw that. And in fact, in the previous Brahmana itself, the Atma was revealed as Turiya or the fourth, okay, which is not any of these three states. The three states were mentioned in a different manner, in fact, from the other Upanishads. Like Mandukya, also three states are mentioned there. There, the Jagarat, Swapna and Shushupti are directly mentioned, and even names are given for the waker, dreamer and sleeper, the Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna. But here, the terminology, the way it was described, the three states and the experiencers there, it was done in a different manner, but the teaching is the same. And finally, it is shown that Atma is none of the above. Okay, so that's Sayesha Neti Neti iti Atma Agrihyaha Nahi Grihyate. All this we saw in the last class. So Atma was revealed already here. The same Atma is going to be revealed here also. So Bhashyakara is trying to give a sambandha from the previous chapters also, not just the previous Brahmana, but Bhashyakara is giving a summary of whatever was taught in the Upanishad itself and how it is connecting here. So he starts like this: Vijnanamaya Atma Sakshad Aparokshad Brahma Sarvantaraha Parayeva. So Vijnanamaya Atma means the Jiva Atma is called Vijnanamaya Atma, the one who is available in the intellect, correct? In the Antakarana as the knower. So that Vijnanamaya Atma, the individual self, is nothing but it is Sakshad Aparokshad Brahma. It is Aparoksham Brahma only, and which is the one which is in all, everybody, Sarvantaraha, who is the Atma of all, and it is Paramatma also. It is not just this limited individual self, but the self itself is the Paramatma. It is the self of all. And where it and how it was taught? Nanyaha ataha asti drashta. Nanyad ataha asti drashtru. Like this in two places it has been mentioned. In the third chapter itself, Na anyaha ataha asti drashta means from this Brahman there is no other knower. Means even the knower who is available in this body mind sense complex is none other than this Brahman. The same thing is said in a different manner in another place also. Na anyad ataha asti drashtru also. Okay. So from this there is no other knower other than this Brahman. Like this it was revealed by these two Shrutis. In fact, here they have given it as only one, but actually this na anyaha ataha asti drashta is a different quotation, and then the other one is another one. Okay, so one is 3:7:23, another is this 3:7:23 is this na anyaha ataha asti drashta. Then na anyad ataha asti drashtra is actually in the 3:8:2, but they haven't actually given it properly here. They have given as though it is a single quotation. It is not single. This is one quotation. This na anyad ataha asti drashtra is another. So that's why Bhashyakara says ityadi shrutibhyaha. He says, okay. So these shrutis like this are there, which is revealing the aikyam of the individual self and the Paramatma. And that self again was the individual self itself was revealed as Brahman, and that Brahman, Saesha iha pravishtaha. This Brahman entered, correct? That was said in 147 itself, okay? Saiha pravishtaha. This Brahman alone entered, having created everything, having been unmanifest, undifferentiated, avyakta. That avyakta then became vyakta, correct? Manifest and differentiated. And then once the differentiated creation is there, Brahman itself entered into that. Like that it is said. The Pravesha Shruti is very important. By that only the Shruti is pointing out that this individual self is non-different from Brahman. So Sayesha iha pravishtaha vadanadi lingaha asti vyatiriktaha iti madhukande ajata shatru samvade pranadi kartritva bhoktritva pratyakyanena adhigataha api san. So this Brahman alone, having entered into this srishti, and it is then available in the intellect, correct? That Brahman is there. Why? Because only by its presence, the Vak, okay, the Vag Indriya functions as Vag Indriya. The eyes see, the ears hear, and each Indriya, mind, etc. functions only by because this Brahman is there, because of the presence of this conscious entity. That's what Vadanadi Lingaha Asti Vyatirikta. But it is different from all these things because it is the one which knows whether your eyes are seeing or not, whether your ears are hearing or not, like that, correct? So it is different from all the sense organs and your mind. But your sense organs and your mind are functioning because of which that is Brahman, correct? That Brahman which is separate from your body mind sense complex, that was shown like that in Madhukanda. Particularly in the Ajata Shatru Brahmana was there, okay, where this Balaki, Dripta Balaki goes to Ajata Shatru, and then he first tries to teach Ajata Shatru Brahman, but Balaki only knows Saguna Brahma. Then even whatever Balaki tries to teach Ajata Shatru already knew about all that. In fact, he keeps on adding something to whatever Balaki says there. And then finally he asks, is that all you know? And actually there is something more. Then once Ajata Shatru says like that, Balaki remains silent. He doesn't know what to do. And then he learns from Ajatashatru, who is the king. So in that, Ajatashatru then takes this Balaki, he holds his hand and takes him to a place where somebody is sleeping in the palace, and then they try to wake him up. And he even calls out different names and all that, but that person does not respond. So from that it is so, in fact, he uses specific words for prana there. Pandaravasaha, Brihan, like that. So those words also were used, the names of prana, but prana never responded. Even though prana was functioning there in the body, even during sleep, the prana did not respond. So from that it was shown that Atma is separate from prana also, because there can be a contention that prana itself is the Atma. But if prana itself is the Atma, when the prana was functioning, it should have responded, correct? When its name is used and called. But the prana, even though the prana was functioning during sleep, it did not respond. Therefore, it was shown in that Brahmana that Atma is separate from all the body, mind, sense complexes, in which prana also is included. So, pranadi kartritva bhoktritva pratyakyanena means what? Pratyakhyana means refutation or denial. By denying that prana, etc. are karta bhokta. Prana and all are only jada, really speaking. They cannot be karta bhokta. So, for being a karta bhokta, you have to be a chetana. You have to be a conscious being, correct? So, the kartritva bhoktritvam, correct? The doership and enjoyership is denied for all the body, mind, sense complex, in which the Sukshma Sharira also is included, which is in which prana comes. So, pranadi kartritva bhoktritva pratyakyanena adhigataha api sanne, even though it is known like that, being known that it is something separate, okay, Atma is separate from all these things. Then what? Punaha prananadi lingam upanyasya aushasta prashne prananadi lingaha yaha samanyena adhigataha pranena praniti ityadina. So Ushasta Brahmana also we saw before. In the Ushasta Brahmana, that's what Bhashyakara is referring here. Aushasta Prashne, when Ushasta asked question, okay, then Yajnavalkya answers. He refers to, or he reveals Brahman as pranena praniti, apanena apaniti, like that. In that manner, you can go back and refer to that also. In this manner also, Brahman was revealed. That means prana is functioning as prana because of which Brahman. Apana is functioning as apana because of which Brahman. So again, due to the functions of all this prana, etc., that itself is given as a linga or indication to reveal Brahman. Okay. And also Brahman was shown as Drishtehe Drashta. Okay, it is the seer of sight itself. Because it is the one which knows whether the eyes are seeing or not. I told you, correct? So that's how Brahman is revealed. Ityadina alupta shakti swabhavaha adhigataha. So that means this Brahman never stops seeing. It is all the time seeing. It's called alupta drik. That's why. So it does not have an eyelid. Understand that. Brahman has only eyes without any eyelids. It cannot be closed. It never stops seeing. In fact, even during sleep, Brahman is always conscious. Brahman doesn't go to sleep. Only the mind and the indriyas resolve during sleep. Sleep is really for only the mind. Brahman is awake even then. And that's why you know that you did not know anything. Correct? Even the fact that nothing was there to be known is known only because Brahman is awake all the time. It is alupta Shakti here refers to its alupta means never ending, unceasing power. Means here this power is the power of consciousness itself. Okay. Chit Shakti we have to take. Alupta Shakti Swabhavaha. So in this manner it was revealed. Brahman was already revealed like this. So Bhashyakara summarizes the teaching till now. Then further what? Tasya cha para upadhi nimittaha samsaraha. So if Atma is Brahman, this individual Atma or individual self itself is Brahman, then who is the one who is suffering? Who undergoes samsara means, Bhashyakara answers that also here. He says, Tasya cha para upadhi nimittaha samsara. Samsara is there only because of upadhi, the conditioning factors. Only if you identify yourself with the body, mind, sense complex, which is not really you, correct? In fact, Vedanta is very simple actually. Whatever I know is not I. That's all you have to focus on. If you know the body, you are not the body. Correct? If you know all the functionings of the prana in your body like thirst, hunger, etc., you are not prana. If you know whether your eyes are seeing or not, you are not the eyes. Correct? You know the functioning of your eyes. Similarly, you know what thoughts are there in your mind. So you are the knower of all these things means you are not any of them. These are all your objects of knowledge only. Anything which is an object of your cognition is not you. Like this, we can easily understand this. It's not a big deal. But still, what is the natural tendency of people? They take themselves as the body, mind, sense complex. And because of this wrong identification, only all suffering is there. It is all due to the upadhi nimitta only. It is due to the upadhi. The body, mind, sense complex itself is a conditioning factor, upadhi. And how is it? Yatha Rajju Ushara Shuktika Gaganadishu Sarpa Udaka Rajata Malinatwadi. So, like even in the rope and in the Ushara means in the desert sand, correct? Then Shuktika is shell, Gagana is sky. In all these things, Adishu means there can be so many other locus, correct? So many other places where you can superimpose one thing on the other. And what all you superimpose on the Rajju, Sarpa, on the Ushara, Udaka, water, mirage water. Then Shuktika, you superimpose on shell the silver, Rajata. Then on the sky, Malinatwadi. Malina means you can take it as even some color, dirt. Malina means you can take it as some gray or blue color also. Sky is blue, we say, correct? So, Malinatwadi, Para Upadhya Aropana Nimittameva. So, all these things are not really there. Okay, the rope is not snake, the sand is not water, correct? Shell is not silver, sky is not blue, but still all these things are taken like that by mistake, by superimposing one on the other. Okay. Para upadhi aropana nimittameva. These are all these cognitions are also only superimpositions. You are taking the dharma of the upadhi or the conditioning factor as the dharma of the actual locus itself, the ashraya, adhisthana. But these things are not there intrinsically there. Naswataha. Okay, so the rope does not have any snakeness. Tatha. Similarly, what? Nirupadikaha, nirupakyaha. So similarly, Brahman also doesn't have anything to do with any upadhi, correct? It is free from all the conditioning factors. Okay, nirupakyaha, neti neti, vyapadeshyaha. So that this Brahman is what? It is not it's not connected to any limiting adjuncts like that normally they translate, but that which is free from all conditioning factors, you can say. Nirupakyaha means what? Upakyaha means that which can be defined as this, let us say. But Brahman is not an object, so it cannot be. It's not the meaning of any one word, correct? Brahman cannot be the meaning of any one word. If it is the meaning of any word, then it will become limited. So it is not the meaning of any one word. Nirupakyaha, it cannot be described as this. Okay. And neti neti iti vyapadeshaha, it has to be revealed only as not this, not this. So that once you negate everything, whatever is left out is the negator. So Brahman is the Swarupa of the negator. The negator alone can never be negated. and that is Brahman, which is yourself. That's how it is taught, correct? Neti neti iti vepadeshyaha. And it is Sakshad Aparokshad Sarvantaraha. So it is direct. Sakshat means it doesn't require any other means of knowledge to reveal itself. It's self-revealing. And Aparokshat means it is the, again, it is the one which is the Mukhya Brahma, and it is Sarvantaraha. It is the one which is there as the inner self in everybody. Sarvantaraha Atma. This Brahman, which is Aksharam, it is Naksharati iti Aksharam, correct? Indeclinable. And Antaryami, which is the one which is there inside every being. Prashasta, who is the inner ruler, you can say. Okay, who's ruling, being inside everybody, and who is the ruler. Upanishadaha, the one who is known only through Upanishad, correct? Upanishadaha Purushaha means the one who can be known only through the Upanishads, because no other means of knowledge has access to the subject. All the means of knowledge only reveal the objective world. The subject can only be revealed by the Upanishad. That's why it is Upanishadaha Purushaha. And it is also Vijnanam. It is of the nature of this consciousness, and it is also the source of all happiness, correct? It is of the very nature of Ananda, Ananda Swarupa, Brahma iti Adigatam. So this Brahma is all these things. Like this, it was all revealed in the third chapter. Up to the third chapter, all these things were revealed. Okay. So Bhashyakara is beautifully summarizing that. Then what? Tadeva punaha indha sagnyaha pravivekta aharaha. So that same Brahman in the previous Brahmana was revealed as the Vaker, Indaha, Inda. The Vaker was given the name Indha, Indha Sagnyaha. And also Pravivikta Aharaha means what? One who has the food. Okay, fine food you can say. Means whatever food you eat, everything is not going to the body, correct? We excrete the gross part of it. The finer part of it alone is the nutrients are taken by the body. So that is what is called Pravivikta Aharaha, the Indha Sagnya, the Vaker who takes the fine food. Tataha Antarhridaye Lingatma Pravivikta Ahara Taraha. Then what? In between the Hridaya, in the mind, Hridaya means intellect and mind only we have to take. Lingatma means the Sukshma Sharira only is called Lingatma here. Linga Sharira or Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body. In that, so the Taijasa, and that this subtle body or the Sukshma Sharira itself again is nourished by the even finer food, correct? Pravivikta Ahara Taraha. So the food itself, the grossest food is rejected, excreted. Then the finer part is absorbed by the physical body. Even finer part of that is nourishing the Sukshma Sharira. So what food you eat affects your mind also. That's what we have to understand here. Pravivikta Ahara Taraha Tataha Parena Jagadatma Pranopadhihi. Now, again, that Brahman was also pointed out as, other than these two, what? The Jagadatma, the one who is the totality. Because once you sleep in the causal state, it is a potential state, correct? It's unmanifest. Everything, there is no subject-object division in sleep. It is a potential causal state. So it is undifferentiated. Therefore, there is no difference between individual and total. In the waking and dream, there is a difference, correct? You are there as the subject, and then there is an objective world with so many things. So there it is differentiated. Subject-object differentiation is very clear in waking. It is also there in the dream. Okay, but in deep sleep there is no differentiation. Therefore, only we say that there is no difference there. So the individual and total, everything is one only. Everything is a potential state. Potentially, it is all undifferentiated. Therefore, it is now, once we talk about the sleep, Jagadatma Prana Upadhihi. So there, your Upadhi is the Prana only. The causal body of the individual is non-separate from Ishvara. So where the Upadhi itself is called prana means it is the totality of all the Sukshma Sharira. Okay, and that the causal form of that is called prana here. It is not the regular prana. Prana itself is the Upadhi there, and you become the Atma of the entire Jagat. Okay, so that is the sleep. So here you can see in the Mandukya the same thing was shown as Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna. Here the same thing is the same, those three states and the experiencers are pointing, it was pointed out differently in the previous Brahmana. That's what Bhashyakara is pointing out here. Prana Upadhi. Tataha api pravilapya. So even resolving that, correct? So that if you resolve that also, that this Karana Sharira or the causal form, then what? Then Tataha api pravilapya Jagadatmanam Upadhi Bhutam Rajvada Viva Sarpadikam Vidyaya. So even that, whatever this Jagadatma means, the causal form, correct? The one who is the self of all, but that is also really only an Upadhi. The causal form also is only a conditioning factor. That also you resolve, you remove by this knowledge that Brahman is not that also, correct? Brahman is separate from the causal Upadhi also. Like even the Rajvada Viva Sarpadikam means you remove, you resolve the snake by knowing the rope as rope. Like that, by this Brahma Vidya, you resolve this causal form also and know this Brahman as Turiya. Correct? Brahman is, in fact, Brahman is, all these three states are Brahman. Correct? But Brahman is none of them. That is the inequality we have to understand. There is no waker without Brahman. There is no dreamer without Brahman. There is no sleeper without Brahman. But Brahman is all these things, but it is none of these things also. It is independently existent. It is the only Satya Vastu. These three are all only Mithya. They are dependent on Brahman. That's what we have to understand. The Satyam Mithya, you have to understand clearly. So all the Mithya states, you resolve into Brahman and understand that Brahman alone is there. That is the Turiyam. The fourth is only with reference to the other three. Otherwise, Brahman alone is there. Correct? It's in and through all the states. That's what we have to understand. Vidyaya. And what is that Vidya? Sayesha neti neti. Iti sakshat sarvantaram brahma adhigatam. So in the previous Brahmana itself, I showed you, correct? Here. So here you say here, sarva dishaha sarve pranaha. So that in the deep sleep, you become everything. Okay, all the prana in all the directions are yours only, like that. But still what? Sayesha neti neti iti atma agrihyaha nahi grihyate. Like this Turiya was revealed here. That's what Bhashyakara is pointing out here. So this also was taught already. So Yajnavalkya taught this to Janaka. And then what is the result of that? Evam abhayam pariprapitaha Janakaha Yajnavalkyena agamataha sankshepataha. So in this manner, Janaka attained abhaya. But this abhaya he attained through the agamataha, means through the upadesha of the Shruti. In a sankshepataha, in a brief manner only, Yajnavalkya taught here. And you can see here he says, Abhayam tva. So sorry, here. Abhayam vai Janaka praptosi. So Janaka had abhaya. But still, that has to be reinforced. Any insight, only having insight once is not enough. Understand that. An insight has to be reinforced. Then only it will be available all the time. It has to become your knowledge. When that insight is there, everything looks like clear and all that. But because of your natural tendency, which is very powerful, correct, of identifying with the body, mind, sense complex, that insight will be overpowered. It may not be available. The knowledge which came with that insight is not available. That's why it has to be repeated, it has to be reinforced, or there can be doubts also, correct? Because others are saying something different. Therefore, for that only this Brahmana is started, like that Bhashyakara will start. So, up to this, whatever was there, in fact, he summarizes that here further. He says, Atracha, there what in the previous Brahmana, Jagrat Swapna Sushupti Turiyani Upanyastani Anya Prasangena. So, in the previous Brahmana, this Jagrad Avastha, correct? And this Swapna Avastha and Turiya Avastha, all these things were referred, but in a different manner, correct? So it was Anya Prasangena means what? It was explained to you in a certain manner, okay? But now what? So those have been already introduced there, but now again that will be talked about the same thing, okay? So the words which were used there were this indha and all that, correct? That's what Anya Prasangena means what? Indaha, Pravivekta, Ahara Taraha, Sarve Pranaha, and Sayesha Neti Neti iti. So in these four ways, this Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti, Turiya were referred, correct? So Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti, Turiya word and all is coming from Mandukya actually. But even the Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti words were not there, correct? They were referred to in a different manner. That's why he says Anya Prasangena, Indaha, it means waker. Pravivekta Ahara Taraha refers to the dreamer. Sarve Pranaha refers to the sleep state and sleeper, correct? The totality. Sayesha Neti Neti iti, that is the Turiya. Brahman is still shown as different from all these things. So this was pointed out in the previous Brahmana. Atra, now what? Idani, now Jagrat Swapnadidvarenaiva Mahata Tarkena Vistarataraha Adhigamaha Kartavyaha. So now what has to be done in this Brahmana means the same Jagrat Swapnadi Dwara only. So using the waking, dreaming, etc. But Mahata Tarkena using this valid reasoning, you can say, or logic. Okay. Vistarataha, in a very elaborate manner. Adhigamaha Kartavyaha. So, in an elaborate manner, using logic, thorough logic, you can say, okay, in a very elaborate manner, this has to be taught, or Janaka has to be taught so that he attains this abhayam again in a more reinforced manner, you can say, correct? So, Vistarataha Adhigamaha Kartavyaha Abhayam Prapayitavyam. So, Janaka has to gain or attain this abhayam. Further what? Sadbhavascha Atmanaha Vipratipatti Ashanka Nirakaranadvarena. So, first Atma has to be established as Atma is there. Why? Because there are Vipratipatti is there. Vipratipatti means what? Conflicting ideas or opinions are there about this Atma. Different people are saying different things. Okay, whether this Atma is body itself, or it is Indriya, or it is Prana, or there is no Atma at all. Nairatmyavadis are there, Buddhists are there. So all these Vipratipatti, contradictory, conflicting opinions and doubts are there based on that. Vipratipatti, Patti, Ashanka, Nirakarana Dwarene. So to remove all those doubts and contradictions and conflicting opinions, okay, removing them through that what? That Atma is there first. Atmanaha Sadbhava. Further what? Yatiriktatvam. Atma is separate from all these bodies, correct? Physical body, subtle body, causal body, everything. Or Pancha Kosha also you can take. Atma is other than all the koshas. So it is separate. And it is Shuddha, means it is pure. Pure means what? It is not pure like your water. Water is impure, then you make it pure. but again it can become impure, correct? But Atma is not like that. Atma's purity means it is pure and it can never become impure. Understand that. It did not become pure after being impure. It is always pure only, correct? Means it is, again, it's not even connected to anything else. So nothing can taint it. It is Asanga. So the Shuddhatvam of Atma is different. Particularly, Shuddha here means Atma is not subjected to any karma. There is no Papa Punya or anything. There is no Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam for the Atma. So it is not connected to anything. And it doesn't have Ashuddhi like Kama, Krodha, etc. Also, there is no desire or anger or all those things. Those are also considered as, this Raga Dvesha only is considered as Ashuddhi normally, but Atma is free from all that. And this Swayam Jyotishtvam means it is self-revealingness, okay? Self-evident, it is self-luminous. So Swayam Jyotishtvam means self-luminosity, we can say. Okay, self-luminosity of the Atma. Then Alupta Shakti Swarupatvam means its power never wanes. It never stops. Correct? It is always conscious, aware. That awareness, consciousness, because that being its very nature, it never changes. It never stops. That's why Alupta Shakti Swarupatvam. Its very nature is this Chit Shakti, which never stops or which never ceases. And Niratishaya Ananda Swabhavyam, and also incomparable Ananda. Its Swarupa, it is Swabhava, its very nature is of Ananda only. There is no Dukkha Lesha also cannot touch this Atma. It is all Ananda Swarupa only. And also Advaitatvam, it is non-dual. In this manner, this Atma has to be known with all these things, correct? Adigantavyam iti idam arabhyate. So in this manner, to reveal the Atma with all these words, correct? And also these things have to be established using tarka here. Mahata tarkena vistarataha adhigamaha kartavyaha. That's how he said. So that's why this particular Brahmana is started. And here it starts with a story where Yajnavalkya again goes to Janaka. So now Bhashyakara talks about that. Akhyayikatu Vidya Sampradana Grahana Vidhi Prakashanartha means the story is there to show how knowledge has to be received and how knowledge has to be given also. Correct? Sampradana Grahana. So Vidya Sampradana means how you should give this jnanam, and Grahana means how you receive it. There is a vidhi for both. So there are rules, you can say. So Vidya Sampradana Grahana Vidhi Prakashanartha, to show all these things, and also Vidya Stutaye, to praise the knowledge, especially to praise the knowledge, because in this the Varadanadi Suchanat also, because there is a talk about Yajnavalkya having given a Vara, a boon to Janaka already, and based on that boon only he is going to ask the question. Okay. So from the story we understand how one should conduct oneself while giving this jnanam or while receiving and all that. Correct? The method of giving and receiving knowledge, etc. And also one has to keep up one's word. Once you have given a boon, you have to keep up your word. All that will come here. We'll see. So we'll see the first vakya here. Janakam havaideham Yajnavalkyo jagama samene na vadishya iti ataha yajjanakascha vaidehaha Yajnavalkyascha agnihotre samudate tasmai Yajnavalkyaha varam dadau saha kama prashnameva. Okay, so here this Yajnavalkya went to Janaka, who is Vaideha, who is the king of Videha Desha. Jagama means he went long back. It happened long back. So this Jagama, lit lakara is used. And then it seems he was thinking, Samene. So when Yajnavalkya went to Janaka, this time, this is after the previous Brahmana, correct? Previous Brahmana, already they had some Samvada. Even before that, they have had lot of Samvada. If you take the Shatapatha Brahmana, there is lot of Yajnavalkya and Janaka Samvada is there. So this time Yajnavalkya, it seems he thought that I don't want to talk anything, have any discussion with Janaka. I will go, and Bhashyakara says, and only take care of my yoga and kshema. Yoga and kshema means what? Generally, Brahmanas received support from the king in those days, correct? So king only gave them whatever is required to sustain the Gurukulam, etc. So king supported the Brahmanas, their way of life. So yoga kshema means what? Yoga means gaining something new. Kshema means maintaining whatever you have without losing anything. So for yoga kshema purpose alone, I will go, but I will not have any discussion like that. Yajnavalkya thought and went there. So he had a sankalpa like that I am not going to talk. But what happened? As soon as Yajnavalkya went there, Janaka started talking to him. Okay. So for this, no, Shruti is giving a reason. So why did Janaka start talking? Okay. For that, now the Shruti says what? Atha means now. Thereafter, Yad Janakascha Vaidehaha Yajnavalkyascha Agnihotre Samudate. So previously, Janaka and Yajnavalkya had once talked about this Agnihotra. They had a discussion on Agnihotra. There is Agnihotra Vidya. It is somewhat like this Panchagni Vidya and all that. Okay, there is a Panchagni Vidya also in Chandogya. And so this Yajnavalkya was very pleased with Janaka at that time, and he had offered him a boon. Okay. Tasmaiha Yajnavalkyaha Varam Dadau. So at that time, Yajnavalkya was very pleased with Janaka and he gave him a boon. What is that boon? Then what is the boon which Janaka asked? See, Janaka is already a king and he doesn't need any material things, correct? So what did he ask? See the beauty here. So he asked a boon that I should have the freedom to ask you any question at any time. Okay, whenever I want to ask any question to you, I should be able to ask and receive the answer. Correct? That is what here Shruti is saying as Saha Kama Prashnameva. So what was the boon which Janaka got from Yajnavalkya is what? Whenever I desire, I should be able to ask you the question and then receive the answer from you. So knowledge alone is so important, correct? That's what he is asking as a boon here. So Saha Kama Prashnameva Vavre. So he asked for this Kama Prashna. And Tamha Asmai Dadau. And then what? So Yajnavalkya also gave it. That boon he gave. Therefore, what? Based on that boon, Tamha Samradeva Purvam Papracha. So as soon as the emperor, the king saw Yajnavalkya, he asked the question because he need not even ask him any permission or anything because he has the boon, correct? So he has the boon to ask any question at any time. So he freely asked that. As soon as he saw, although Yajnavalkya had a different sankalpa, but he asked. The king, Janaka, asked him the question straight away. And what is that question and all we'll see. Now we'll see the Bhashya here. Janakam havaideham Yajnavalkyo jagama. So he went to Yajnavalkya. Sorry, Yajnavalkya went to Janaka. Sacha gachan evam mene chintitavan. So having gone, he thought like this. Okay. What did he think? Na vadishye kinchidapi rajnye. So I will not say anything to the king, or I will not have any discussion or conversation with the king. So why did he go to the king? Gamana prayojanam to yoga kshemartham. Only for yoga and kshema, I'll go and get something, some material things from the king and come back. Okay, gamana prayojanam to yoga kshemartham. So na vadishya iti evam sankalpaha api Yajnavalkyaha yadyad Janakaha prishtavan tattat pratipede. So even though he went with the Sankalpa that I will not have any discussion, any talk with Janaka. Yajnavalkya still answered all the questions which Janaka asked him, correct? Yadyat Janaka Prishtavan, whatever Janaka asked him, tat tat pratipede, he revealed all of them to Janaka, the answers. So why did he do that then? He went with a sankalpa of not having any discussion, not having any talk, but still he answered all the questions which Janaka asked him. So tatra ko hetuhu. So what is the reason for that? Means sankalpitasya anyatha karane. So sankalpitasya anyatha karane ko hetuhu. So what is the reason for going against his own sankalpa? Correct? He did something other than whatever sankalpa he did. Ityatra akhyayikam achaste. So in this context, the Shruti is telling you the story. What is the story? Purvatra kila. Okay, so long back, again, before this particular visit, varam dadau. So Yajnavalkya had given a varam to, a boon to Janaka. And what is that? In fact, I read the wrong statement. Okay. Purvatra kila Janaka Yajnavalkyayoho samvadaha asi Agnihotre nimitte. So previously there was a samvada, there was a discussion between Janaka and Yajnavalkya, and it was on Agnihotra. Okay. Tatra Janakasya Agnihotra Vishayam Vijnanam Upalabhya Paritushtaha Yajnavalkya. So having seen the jnanam of uh, Janaka, Yajnavalkya was very pleased. Yajnavalkya was very pleased with the knowledge which Janaka had about this Agnihotra Vishaya, about the Agnihotra, the subject matter. Of course, they not only discussed Vedanta, understand that. Janaka discussed a lot with different people. In that, karma also is there, upasana also is there, and then he is discussing here Vedanta or Atma Jnanam with Yajnavalkya. So in the previous occasion, they had discussed about Agnihotra. In fact, it is said that Yajnavalkya actually learned something from Janaka which he did not know. Okay, so Janakasya Agnihotra Vishayam Vijnanam Upalabhya, like that Bhashyakara says. So Yajnavalkya actually gained some knowledge from Janaka with reference to the Agnihotra Vidya, and gaining that knowledge, he became very pleased. And then what Yajnavalkya Tasmai Janakaya Kilam Varam Dadau. So then he gave him a boon that, yeah, you may ask some boon from me, because I am very pleased with your knowledge and I have gained something from you. Then what? Sacha Janakaha Kama Prashnameva Varam Vavre Vritavan. So that Janaka, then what did he ask as a boon? Kama Prashnam. Means Kama Prashnam means what? He should be able to ask any liberty. He should have the liberty to ask any questions he liked at any time. Okay. So that is the boon he asked. And then what? Yajnavalkya also granted that. So Tamcha Varam ha Asmai Dadau Yajnavalkya ha. So Yajnavalkya gave him that vara. Then what? Tena Vara Pradana Samarthyena Avyachikhyasumapi Yajnavalkyam Tushnim Sthitamapi Samradeva Janakaha Purvam Papracha. So because of this vara and that samarthya of the vara, means because of the he had that freedom now, correct? So he had the vara with him. So based on that only, he is now going to ask the question. Even though Yajnavalkya was silent, he was not in any mood to give any discussion or enter into any discussion or give any explanation. But on the strength of that boon, correct? So vara prasada pradana samarthyena, on the strength of that vara only, Avyachikhyasumapi. So Vyachikyasum means one who is interested in giving explanation or having a discussion and all that, correct? But here Yajnavalkya was not having, in fact, he had a sankalpa of not having any discussion, but still what? And he is silent also. He did not start anything. So Yajnavalkyam Tushnim Sthitamapi Samradeva Janaka Purvam Papracha means Janaka himself straight away started asking him a question. Therefore, what? Tatraiva Anuktihi. Brahma Vidyayaha Karmana Viruddhatvat. Okay, now here one question may be there. Why is Janaka asking about Atma Jnanam now? Why did he not ask then only? Because Yajnavalkya gave him a boon, correct? Kama Prashna. He could have asked about this immediately after that Agnihotra Vidya discussion, correct? So Bhashyakara now gives a reason. Tatraiva Anuktihi means what? Then only it was not asked. This question because Brahma Vidyayaha Karmana Viruddhatvat, he says. So there the Prakarana was Agnihotra, which is karma. And there this discussion you cannot have because Brahma Vidya is against karma. Okay. And Vidyayasta Swatantriyat, and Vidya, Brahma Vidya as a topic is independent. It's an independent topic. It's not related to any karma in any manner. Therefore, this is separately now. The discussion is happening here. Okay, the discussion is happening now separately, unconnected to any karma. So, Swatantrahi Brahma Vidya Sahakari Sadhana Antara Nirapeksha Purushartha Sadhana Iticha. So, why? Because this Brahma Vidya is independent. It is separate. It is not connected to any karma or upasana. And in fact, it doesn't require any Sahakari Sadhana Antara Nirapeksha means what? It doesn't depend on any other factor, any other sadhana, any other means. Brahma Vidya is independent and it has the capacity to give the result by itself. It doesn't depend on anything else. Understand that. That means there is no jnana karma samuchaya anal is not required. In fact, one of the main Purva Pakshis which Bhashyakara deals with even in many Upanishad Bhashyas and in Gita also is the jnana karma samuchayavad. The one who wants to mix up both knowledge and karma, or even upasana and karma, you can say, because many times jnana or vidya is also upasana according to them. But here what Bhashyakara says is Brahma Vidya is independent and it has no dependency on any karma or upasana or anything to give its phala. And it can be a purushartha sadhana by itself. It can be a means of giving something desirable to you by itself independently without having any dependence on any other means. Okay, here one interesting point I want to point out is that Sureshwaracharya's Vartika also I was checking up. He gives a different meaning, in fact, interestingly. In fact, he even gives the reason why like this. He says, this Bhashyakara's reading that Yajnavalkya took a sankalpa that he will not have a discussion is not proper. Why? Because Yajnavalkya is an intelligent person. He knows that he has given the boon, correct? Having given a boon, this Kama Prashna, how can he take a sankalpa which is totally opposite to that? It doesn't make any sense, correct? Then unnecessarily he is in a conflicting situation, whether he has to go with his sankalpa or whether he has to fulfill the boon which he has given. He has to keep up his word. We can still say that in such a situation, one's own sankalpa is not important. To keep up the word which you are given to somebody else is more important. That's what is being shown by this story and all. You can give an explanation like that, but still it is not very intelligent, correct? You do not show Yajnavalkya as a very intelligent person because he is taking a sankalpa which is against the boon he himself has given to Janaka. So, Vartikakara actually reads it very interestingly differently. How? I'll tell you. This Samene na Vadishya is what Bhashyakara is reading, correct? But Vartikakara reads it as Sam Yenena Vadishya, like that. Okay, means Yenena Samvadishya. The Sam will go with the Vadishya. So Vartikakara is reading it as Yenena Samvadishya. Ityatha, like that. So when you read Yenena Samvadishya means what? I am going to have a nice discussion with like that with Yajnavalkya, sorry, with Janaka, with like that he had a sankalpa, he says. Sam yenena vadishya means what? That I shall speak to the king. I will have a discussion with the king. With that kind of an intention he comes. Because he knows that he has already given the boon, correct? So, So you cannot say that he was not having any desire to talk. In fact, he came to Janaka with a desire for discussion only, to answer any questions he may ask. That is a better reading. Like this, Sureshwaracharya says. So here you can see how Sureshwaracharya goes against his guru. The Vartika itself we say, correct? Utta nukta duruktanam chinta yatra pravartate. Like that, the Vartika is defined. So Vartikakara has to talk about whatever is said in the original text. Whatever is not said also he has to explain. Somewhere there is some gap and all that. But whatever is not properly said, also he has to make it proper, correct? So here he thinks that Bhashyakara's reading is not proper. Samene na vadishya is not proper. It doesn't fit the context. So he reads it differently. Sam yene na vadishya, like that. Is it clear? So this also one has to understand, means in this case the Vartikakara's guru is Shankaracharya, correct? So writing a Vartika on one's own guru's work is a problem. You can write Vartika on somebody else's work. There you can do all this Durukta business very easily. But here you have Shraddha in the words of your guru, correct? But even there, the Vartikakara has the intellectual honesty to not agree with the interpretation of Shankara, correct? And he gives a different interpretation here, in fact, which is very interesting and maybe appropriate also, correct? Like this, even previously I have told you, correct? In that Bhikshacharyam Charanti and all that. There also Vartikakara differs with Bhashyakara slightly. So like this, in some places, Sureshwaracharya gives a different interpretation. You can see that. So this is one place. So with this, we'll close this week. We'll continue with the actual Brahmana from next week onwards. The questions, etc. What Janaka asked and how Yajnavalkya replied and explained in his answers. We'll see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Dhanyawada Guruji.
Om.
It's actually very good, very interesting.